By the time water is running across your basement floor, that heater had been telling you for months. It does not go the way people picture it. There is no bang, no burst, no single moment where a healthy tank turns into a broken one. What actually happens is slower and much more considerate than that. The tank starts leaving you messages. It gets louder. It changes the color of your water. It puts a taste in your coffee. It leaves a damp patch that dries up by itself. And almost every homeowner I have ever talked to heard those messages, decided the unit was just getting on in years, and went back to whatever they were doing. I am Mark Silverbridge. If you have a tank water heater sitting in a basement or a garage, and something about it has changed lately, this one is for you. I am going to walk you through the warnings in order of how much time each one buys you, so you know which ones mean call somebody this month and which ones leave you a couple of easy years. Start with what you are actually protecting yourself from, because the reason any of this matters is not the heater. The heater is a replaceable appliance. It is the floor and the drywall and everything you have stacked around it. A standard tank holds somewhere between 30 and 80 gallons, depending on the size of the house. When the shell finally opens up, all of that comes out. That part people expect. What people do not expect is what happens next. And it is the part that does the real damage. That tank is still connected to the cold water supply line coming into your house. The supply does not know the tank has failed. It keeps feeding. So you do not get a spill. You get a spill, and then you get a garden hose running wide open in your basement until somebody comes home and shuts a valve. That is why the numbers on this are so ugly. Insurance studies put the average loss from a water heater failure above $4,000. Whole home water damage claims run higher, roughly $13,000 on average. Almost none of that is the heater itself. That is flooring, baseboards, drywall wicking moisture up out of the slab, and a remediation crew coming to dry the cavity before anything starts growing in it. That is real money for something the tank told you about ahead of time. One idea changes how you listen to this appliance for good. A water heater does not fail like a light bulb. A light bulb is fine, and then it is not, and there is nothing in between for you to notice. A tank fails like a tire going down. It is a process with stages, and every stage makes a noise or a color or a smell that you can pick up on if you know which ones mean what. And this is where almost everybody gets it backwards. Homeowners rank these warnings by how alarming they sound. A tank that starts banging and rumbling in the middle of the night feels like an emergency. A little dampness at the bottom that is gone again by morning feels like nothing at all. That instinct is exactly inverted. The loudest sign on this list buys you the most time. The quietest one buys you the least. If you take nothing else from this video, take that, because it is the difference between a repair you schedule and a repair that schedules you. So I am going to give you 6 signs in order of lead time, starting with the ones that give you the longest runway, and one of them is the sign homeowners consistently rank as the least serious when it is actually the one that starts the clock running. I will tell you which one when we get there. Let me pause the list here. What I am telling you about reading a tank is ordinary trade knowledge, the kind handed across a job site, never the manual in the box. A good amount of it went into a digital book I put together called 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes That Will Save You $10,000. It downloads straight to your phone. 50 repairs written out step by step for a Saturday and the tools in your garage, plus how to tell a fix you can safely take on from one you should leave alone. A water heater is exactly where that last distinction earns its keep. If you want it, hold your phone up to the code on screen. Keep it steady a beat, and a link comes up by itself. If codes are not your thing, it is in the description too. No hurry either way. The list is the part that matters today. Back to the tank. Sign 1 is popping, rumbling, or a sound like somebody dropped a handful of gravel in there. This is the loudest one, and it is the least urgent one, which is why I put it first. That sound is sediment. Your water carries dissolved minerals, mostly calcium and magnesium, and every time that water gets heated, some of it drops out of solution and settles. Over years, it builds a crust across the bottom of the tank, right where the burner or the lower element is doing its work. Picture a layer of wet sand in the bottom of a pot. You put the pot on the burner. The heat has to travel through the sand before it ever reaches the water, and some of the water gets trapped down underneath it. That trapped water flashes to steam. The steam bubble punches up through the crust, and it makes that snapping, popping noise on the way out. What you are hearing is steam escaping from under a layer of rock. Two things follow from that. The first is that the crust is insulating your burner from the water it is supposed to be heating, so the burner runs longer and hotter to hit the same temperature, and your fuel bill drifts up without you ever noticing. The second matters more. That steel at the bottom of the tank is now being cooked from below, with no water against it, to carry the heat away, and steel that gets cooked like that will eventually give. Now the good news, because this one is genuinely good news. Sediment gives you months to years of warning, and the answer is a flush. You hook a hose to the drain valve at the bottom, run it to a floor drain or out a door, and let the tank push the loose material out. Shut the gas or the breaker off first, and let the water cool down before you do any of it. Done once a year, that popping never turns into anything. Sign 2 is rusty or brown water, and the qualifier on this one decides everything, because it has to be coming out of the hot side only. Run the cold tap first. If the cold runs rusty too, you are looking at your supply line or your galvanized piping, and the heater is innocent. If cold runs clear and hot runs brown, the color is coming from inside the tank, and that means the tank interior is corroding. Which brings me to the single most useful part inside a water heater that nobody has ever heard of. It is called the anode rod. It is a length of magnesium or aluminum hanging down inside the tank, and its entire job is to corrode instead of the steel. Different metals in the same water do not corrode at the same rate, and the more reactive one goes first. So the rod is a decoy. It sits in there and gets eaten so that the tank wall does not. That rod is a consumable. It wears down and then it is gone. And the moment it is gone, the water starts working on the steel instead. Brown hot water is usually the announcement that the decoy has been used up. You get months of warning here, not weeks. A replacement rod runs somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 to $40. And if you catch it early enough, that swap can add real years to the tank. I will be straight with you about the limit on that, though. If the rod has been gone long enough that the steel is already thin, a new rod does not undo what already happened. It slows what is left. Whether it is worth doing comes down to how old the unit is, and I will come back to that at the end, because knowing the age changes every single decision on this list. Sign 3 is a metallic taste in the hot water. This is the same story as sign 2 arriving through a different sense, and I mention it separately because plenty of people notice the taste well before they ever notice a color. Water that has been sitting against bare steel picks up iron, and iron tastes like a penny. If your coffee has started tasting slightly off, and the cold water tastes fine, that is the same message the brown water was carrying, just quieter and usually earlier. Same response. Check the rod. Sign 4 is moisture, weeping, or a damp ring at the base of the tank. This is the one. This is the sign that gets waved off more than anything else on the list, and it is the one that starts the clock. I understand why it gets dismissed. It does not look like a leak. There is no puddle, no drip you can watch. There is a patch of damp at the bottom seam, or a faint rusty ring on the pan or the concrete, and half the time it dries up on its own by the next day. So people wipe it, they figure it was condensation off a cold pipe, and it leaves their mind completely. Before you write it off, rule out the easy explanation, because sometimes it genuinely is condensation. Check the fittings above the tank and the relief valve discharge pipe for a slow drip running down the shell. Dry the whole area with a towel, put a sheet of paper or cardboard underneath, and look at it a day later. If the wet is coming from the bottom seam of the tank itself and not from a fitting overhead, you have your answer. And the answer is that the tank wall has already been breached. Water under household pressure is working its way out through the steel at a seam, and the reason it is not gushing is that the opening is still small and partially blocked by corrosion product. That is all that is holding it. It is a windshield chip that has already started to run, and the crack has never once decided to stop halfway. Weeping gets you weeks to months. That is the whole window. There is no repair for it either. And I will be blunt about that, because it is where people waste money. No sealant, no epoxy, no patch is going to hold back a pressurized steel vessel, and anybody who tells you otherwise is selling you the pleasure of a delay. But that lead time is worth a great deal, and I want to be specific about why. Weeks to months is enough runway to get 2 or 3 quotes instead of 1. It is enough to buy the unit you want rather than whatever is on the truck. It is enough to have the work done on a weekday morning at a normal rate, with the floor dry and your things out of the way. That is the whole game with this sign. The tank is finished either way. What the warning hands you is the schedule. Sign 5 is water dripping from the relief valve. Every tank has a temperature and pressure relief valve, usually threaded into the top or the upper side, with a pipe running from it down toward the floor. It is a spring-loaded safety valve, and it does exactly one thing. If the tank ever goes over temperature or over pressure, that valve opens and lets the excess out instead of letting it build. It is the last line of defense on a vessel full of superheated water. Before I go one word further, the safety piece, because this is the part of the video where somebody could genuinely hurt themselves. Never cap that valve. Never plug it. Never thread a cap onto the discharge pipe. Never tighten it down to make the dripping stop. That valve dripping is a symptom. Capping it does not fix the symptom. It removes the only protection standing between a pressure problem and a tank failure that is a great deal worse than a wet floor. If a plumber ever caps one on your equipment, that is the last job that plumber does in your house. Now, why it drips. Usually the valve is doing exactly its job and reporting trouble that started somewhere else. That trouble is thermal expansion. Water expands when you heat it, and it has to go somewhere. In an older house, it simply pushes back out into the city main, and nobody ever notices. But if your house has a pressure-reducing valve or a backflow preventer on the incoming supply, and a great many houses do now, that expanded water is sealed in with nowhere to go. Pressure climbs every heating cycle until the relief valve does its job and burps. The fix is a thermal expansion tank, a small tank that mounts on the cold line near the heater, with a cushion of air inside it that gives the expanding water somewhere to move. Parts land in the neighborhood of $40 to $60. It is a real plumbing connection, so if soldering or threading a line is outside what you do, this is a fair one to hand off. The other possibility is that the valve itself is old and no longer seating, which happens, and a replacement valve is inexpensive. What matters is that you find out which one it is rather than making the drip go away. Sign 6 is a rotten egg or sulfur smell in the hot water. This one gets people worked up, and it does not belong in the same category as the rest. Call it a service item and put it on the maintenance list. What is happening is a reaction between the anode rod and certain water chemistries, and it shows up far more in houses on well water than on municipal supply. The rod, the water, and naturally occurring bacteria interact and produce a sulfur smell that concentrates in the hot side. It is genuinely unpleasant, and it is worth solving. Options include flushing the system, going to a different anode material, or addressing the water itself. But smell alone is not telling you the tank is about to open up. If you have the smell and nothing else on this list, you have a nuisance to schedule, not a countdown to manage. So how do you turn 6 signs into a decision? There are 3 rungs, and you climb them in order. Rung 1 is maintenance, and it is where almost everybody should start. A yearly flush plus an Anode rod check comes in under $50 in parts if you do it yourself. On a tank that is still sound, that is the single highest return work you will ever do on this appliance, and it can buy you years. If all you have is popping, you are on this rung. Rung 2 is protection, and this is the one hardly anybody does. A drain pan under the tank plumbed to a drain, plus a battery leak alarm sitting on the floor at the lowest point, runs about $15 to $25 for the alarm and not much more for the pan. Be clear about what this rung buys you. It buys warning. A leak alarm turns a failure that would have run unnoticed until morning into a failure you hear in the first minute, and that is the whole gap between wet concrete and a remediation invoice. Rung 3 is replacement, and you are on it the moment you have confirmed weeping at the base. A planned water heater replacement runs somewhere between $1,200 and $2,000 installed for a standard tank. An emergency replacement is that same job at emergency rates plus the drying, plus the flooring, plus whatever was on the floor. Same appliance, wildly different afternoon. Now the bonus, and it is the thing I would want a homeowner to do first if they only did one. Go find out how old your tank is. There is a manufacturer label on the side, and on most of them the date is encoded in the serial number rather than printed as a date. So the fastest route is to search the brand name and the serial format. Once you have it, take a permanent marker and write the year on the front of the tank in numbers big enough to read from the doorway. That number recalibrates everything you just heard. A tank in the first half of its service life with brown water is worth a rod and a flush. A tank running 8 to 12 years deep with the same brown water is telling you to start getting quotes, because you are spending money on a unit that is already past the middle of the road. Same symptom, opposite response, and the only variable is the age. Put the alarm in at the same time. It takes about a minute, and it is the only thing in this entire video that keeps working while you are asleep or away from the house, which is when tanks seem to prefer to go. That is the whole system. 6 signs, 3 rungs, 1 number written on the tank. You are not waiting on that heater anymore. You are reading it, and reading it is the entire difference between a job you schedule and a flood you clean up. If you want that same approach applied to the rest of the house, the digital book I mentioned is called 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes That Will Save You $10,000, and it walks through 50 repairs step by step, along with how to tell when a quote is padded. Point your camera at the code on screen, or grab it from the description. And if this is the kind of straight answer you want more of, subscribe to Mark Silverbridge, because that is what this channel does. Honest plumbing help that keeps money in your pocket where it belongs. Tell me in the comments which of the 6 your tank is doing right now. Go put your hand on the base of that tank tonight. You will know more in 10 seconds than that tank has managed to tell you all year.